So let's finish recycling, and all the work we have left to do is in the render table. So I have my carbon footprint going. I am ready to get started. I am in the table render. I do have my ID. I just named it that. You can name it whatever you want. You don't have to, and you don't have to version control it. Really, it's just for your own purposes. Just makes coding easier when you have the things up that make it easy. Okay, so in this case, we're going to write a helper function. So we know we need a DT here, right? So we know we're going to need a table entry. In this case, let's think about what we're going to do. Okay, but for now, let's just set up the base DT. In this case, let's think about this. How do we display this? With everything else we've had, it's been somewhat easy. We had to do some work for sure in some of these areas to figure out how to display it. But with this one, with so many different choices, we're going to lean into an array method called join. You'll see this at the end, but I'll just give you the heads up now. So we'll set up an array literal. Okay, so we've been using arrays, we've been using objects, and so in this case, we're going to use just an array itself, and then we'll push in to the array based on what the user clicks, right? What they select, their recycling, and then what we'll do is take all those what ends up in our array, and we'll do a join to create a string, a single string that we'll then place into the table. And that's just a nice way of doing it, to show that here are the things that you selected that you recycle, or if none, in this case we'll capture for that, or we'll write logic for that as well. Okay, so in this case we know we're going to write a helper function. So let's just go ahead and start by writing the helper function itself. Okay, so let's say get recycling status string. Okay, now in this case it's a function, not in this case, in all cases so far. Okay, recycling, there we go, status string, is that how I named it, just to be clear? So get recycling circuit, yep, okay. So to get the string, we will pass in the entry. Now we don't actually have to then, for the different recycle glass, do not, all those things, we don't have to specify them because the entry itself inside the object has it, which is really nice. So we can just specify, hey, we're going to take in an entry, okay? So this is the object containing the recycled booleans, and therefore we don't have to specify them individually. Again, making it nice. So we'll set up that array, recycling types. Okay, this is a array literal. I know we've been talking about more object literals, but this is just setting up a new empty array. And now we can say if entry dot do not. I'm not sure why it's not picking up. These should be. Maybe it's because I don't have it in the same folder. Okay. Oh, wow. That's interesting. Huh. Okay. Okay. If they select do not recycle, then we're going to say recycling types dot push. Now we've used the dot push when we pushed object literals into the array, but in this case we're just going to push in a string. Okay, that's the idea. So we're pushing in this case, if this is what's selected, this will be the 0 indexed inside of here. But that all depends on if this is what's selected, because this code then is going to test for the other conditions. Okay, so we could say if, and we're going to do this several times. So we're going to say if entry dot, and then this you can already see me setting up for dot push, doing, and in this case it'll be a string. Okay, Okay, so I know that I'm going to do all the tests for the glass and for the different ones. So what I'm going to do here is just do my nice little trick, and I'll just do the first one so you can see. So if recycle glass, okay, do the first one here, if recycle glass, and I can just take glass and say push glass, the string in there, okay? So if recycle plastic, I'm going to just take that part of that and say, so that's how we're checking if each of them have that as checked, then it'll be true, and then it'll push that into there. And because these are the end of line, ooh, I should have done it before I did that one, but that's okay. I'll now get to do it this way. So now I can just choose paper. Actually, maybe it's easier this way anyway, because then I don't have to change as much. Okay, so then I'll do aluminum. Right. Now with aluminum, looks like I got an extra there we go. With aluminum, let's think about this, right? Because with aluminum, that's a pretty long word and we don't have a lot of space. So we might just abbreviate aluminum itself. Again, we could make decisions based on these different ones to say which ones might we want to abbreviate, but aluminum definitely seems like a candidate to do that with because it's so long and we don't have a lot of space to deal with. So now we have one more for compost. Okay. Here. Cool. So now we have to write the code that actually takes all these, because this array based on what the user selected is going to have a varying amount of content into it. Okay. So now we're going to do another check. Now that we've done all those others, right? So now we'll say if recycle types dot length, which we've looked at length before, but it's just the length of the array, right? Is strictly equal to 0. If that length is 0, then in this case, we're just going to take the recycle types and we're going to push dot none. So we're basically handling the dot none, right? So if they actually clicked it or if they clicked nothing, right? So that's how we'll handle that. Okay. So now outside of this if, so no matter what logic blocks happen, the last thing we're going to do here is we're going to say return recycle types join, and this is where we're going to say join each of those entries in that array with a / between them, and that'll create our table entry. Okay, so this is just a way to do a little bit of string manipulation and formatting in order to output our table. So now we can come down here and we can say get the table status by passing the entry to it. And that should be all we have to do. Let's see if it works. Okay, I think I can already see it did. But let's actually, in this case, now just come through and do all of them to see how that would work. Okay. Okay, so that makes sense. If I recycle everything, I get no points. But in my entry box, you can see, right? It is definitely long. And then if I come back up here, didn't I select food waste too? Wait a minute. Compost. Oh, I gotta fix that. Okay, it looks like on my populate I miss food composting. Oh good, so we'll fix that one, but it seems like everything else, so let's actually take off. So we'll go back and look at food composting in a minute. Good. Oh, it got it there. It was just, it's just on the get. It looks like it's just on the get. Yep. Okay, so I didn't catch that last time. So in this case, we'll have to think about, okay, where does that get done? It's on the form handler, right? It's under the populate compost. Yep, right there. I didn't set it. Okay, so now let's see if. Good. So let's go back to all just to see them. Cool. Cool. Nice. All right. So then let's go to here. What happens if so this, based on this, the logic we've written, if we click here but then click all these, our logic block's going to still say none. Okay. So we get 24 points, nothing recycled. That's the way the logic was written in that case. Okay, so what I'm going to have you do, and I will, by the time you've gotten here, some of your other ones will have had this, but I want you to do, right, give me practice. So this is your prompt to check out, right? Give me practice with different ways to use the array method join, right? So just different experiences with doing that. And so this one will be finished recycling, and that means we're done with 10-2, and we're on to week 11.